Good afternoon. Welcome to another session on the 1873 network. We are talking about the First Lady of Zimbabwe. What is she saying? What do you think she is saying? If you have any better explanation as to what she is saying, please share with us. She has just finished making a presentation in Zimbabwe, in Harare, to the apostolic faith. If you have watched it, please tell us what is your take-home message. And what was it all about? What is she saying? Good afternoon, Obed Mundewere Ngube. Good afternoon, Savannah Madamombe. That was an all-white party. And white is clean. White is what it is. What do you take of this demonstration? Is it demonstration of power? Demonstration of wisdom? Demonstration of a transition to another destination? And what do you make of it? This is Mugabe was not there, and beyond the headlines, what do you see as unfolding in Zimbabwe? Is it, if you were to predict what will happen in the next 5 weeks, what would your starting point be? It's your time. It's beyond the headlines. The headlines are saying something is happening in Zimbabwe. And what are you saying about what is happening? Molly, Gandia Piri, welcome. Savannah, you say supposedly. What does supposedly mean? Welcome, Admo Mutoti. The question is simple. What is Grace Mugabe saying? Is she saying it's Grace's time? Is she saying it's Mnangagwa's time? Is she saying it's Robert Mugabe time? What are the people saying who were in attendance today? Are they saying this woman who's destined to be the vice president at the Congress, that woman cannot be anything but Grace Mugabe? Is it any woman who should be the vice president? Or there is only one woman? Farai Magui says it's G40 time. Did you see anyone on the Lacoste side? And what did Grace Mugabe say about the fate of the youth, the women? What did she say? If you are listening, what do you think is in for those people? Savannah, you can call me because I'm on this phone. I don't seem to. Let's see. Okay. So Grace Atonge, she can't handle that party. Then somebody says, Mutuma, what happened to Chub and Pai? I think we'll deal with all those questions. We are inviting Savannah. Obed says the hatred between Grace Mugabe and Mnangagwa will end up in a civil war in Zimbabwe. It's up to Mugabe to solve the problems he created, or Grace will have a hard time after Mugabe is gone. Mnangagwa and his followers don't give or forget, just like Mugabe himself. This is dangerous and is destabilizing the country. Just listen to the video. Norma Mshibe says, she said they are dead, they are as good as dead. Obed, you say something interesting. You are saying that there's a hatred between Grace and Mnangagwa. And Grace's narrative does not speak to hatred. It speaks to somebody who is not, it speaks to somebody who doesn't listen. That's what she's saying. That you are not listening. You have not listened. I tried to counsel you, but you didn't listen. If you don't listen, then I can't assist you in as much as I tried to assist the former vice president. The former vice president, Mujuru. Savannah, you say you can't, I've invited you again. Then Vincent Chatima, you are watching, welcome. Anoti Daishe Sava, Marie Antoinette, 1789, the French Revolution can be equated to Grace. Marie led to the demise of Louis VI. Makufa Tinashe, I see war breaking soon. Welcome, Savannah.
Hi, how are you? Good morning, good afternoon.
How are you? I hope you've been ignited to be alive to what is going on in Zimbabwe.
You know I am plugged in.
This is welcome to this unfolding drama.
It is.
It's a big one.
Yeah.
Was it unpredictable?
No.
Was it inevitable?
Yes. It's been written on the wall.
Anyone who knows inevitability would have been reading the Snowball.
Yeah.
It starts as a block, but when it lands in fragmented parts. But the seed is somewhere.
Yeah.
Mambi Madaweni, welcome. Reverend Sonny Piri, welcome. And let me just read this here before I bring you on. Itai Makumbe, Zimbabweans deserve what is coming their way because they cannot handle any reality that is outside of the Mugabe's control. Until they can stand, you need to understand that the whole people in ZANU-PF can't stand against Mugabe. Amai vaendesa garwe, that's Rangai Chinyangarara. Mambi says, thank you. Is that a correct description?
Yeah,
that the first lady is now in the Limpopo looking for crocodile. Pakazara mapostori.
Pamberi pemapostori. Pachena.
Mapostori apinda in politics.
This is, this is where you see, remember when we were talking about whether being educated has anything to do with being able to maneuver yourself or being able to solve a certain problem for yourself. This is where you see that usually when people, I'm not going to speak about educated or uneducated, because it will sound like I'm insulting people or I'm degenerating others. But what I'm going to say is that everything that happens when has nothing to do with how much education you have. It has everything to do with an ability to see things and to be able to then maneuver yourself in a certain direction, which Grace has successfully done. Whether we think it's wise or not wise, she has maneuvered herself to be the center of power right now through her husband.
Okay. Do you think the husband is constructively part of this? Or the husband
constructively
is actually...
Constructively, what do you mean? You mean, is it constructive for us, or do you mean he is the architecture behind it?
Because you may find people are living together.
Yes.
But actually, they got a different text.
Yeah, but remember...
And we assume that they are using the same text.
Yeah, but remember, we had some doubts before this, because Mugabe wasn't coming out to endorse publicly what Grace was saying or doing. But after yesterday, absolutely no doubt that he is behind Grace, or he was told to speak after yesterday, because he clearly stated that after Grace was booed. Remember, Grace was booed yesterday, and then Mugabe spoke after that, and he stood up and he said, he stood up and supported Grace publicly.
But what did she say? What did she say today?
Oh, today she did not say much less than what she said yesterday.
No,
she continued.
She said a lot.
Yeah.
She said a lot today.
She did.
She congratulated Baba. Baba and no, Nasi go.
Exactly. So she was endorsed by Bob, because Bob has not before yesterday. Bob had not come out to say that he's supporting what Grace is doing. But after yesterday, it was very clear Bob is behind it. Whichever way his arm has been twisted or willingly, we don't care. But he has said it for himself. So we have to listen to what he's saying. We cannot put words into his mouth. We just have to extract what he said.
So he has said, I raised some questions this morning on my Facebook page just to provoke, ignite, and maybe inspire. Do you think that a union of a man and a woman via marriage can possibly create a new personality?
So yes, and this is where I always say people, which is usually what I see is a problem in a lot of relationships. When people come in and become a couple, understanding of a lot of people is that they have to act, think, behave as one. Thereby,
okay, is that assumption correct?
I think it's not correct. To me, it's not correct. There's no way I can behave and act like someone else. I can only be myself, and in consideration of another person that I am with, but I cannot change. This is where a lot of people go in with an assumption to be able to change someone to be who they want them to be. And we get in trouble a lot of times. So right now, the reason why it's working in that sense is because Mugabe at 93 is dependent very much on his young wife.
No, you are already making dependency where it may not be.
No, it's 93. We are making
so we are looking at two individuals.
Yeah, but it's 93.
One is called.
It's 93.
No. Let's assume age is neutral.
How do we assume 93 and 50 is neutral?
No, the age, he's still alert.
He is alert, but he's physically, he has physical dependence that we see.
No, he is not agreeing with you 100%. And she has acknowledged that we are not in sync. But the husband is coming along.
But he has said yesterday, he actually said Garwe can go and form his own party, which he has never said before.
No, this is now, but he put if. He didn't say you can. He said if this is, and he's pleading with people, did I make a mistake?
Yeah. And
the people who were there.
That is how Mugabe speaks. He speaks in riddles like you.
No, I'm saying is that you are now putting me into Mugabe's territory. But Mugabe said himself, which is clear.
So Mugabe is at a position where he cannot throw stones directly like that. You understand? He has to.
No.
He speaks in riddles.
Let's not.
Like Munumukuru.
Let's not put.
He is what he is.
Let's not put him in. Let's not put you into his mind.
No.
Let's extract his way.
I'm extracting what he said. I am not going.
Okay, let's go. Let's go to what did he say?
Okay, what he said was, if yes, but the conversation we are having right now is about speculating what this means, right? So we have to use the words that they used. If, then.
No, I'm saying is the first he is saying, I heard these things that people are going to pull.
Yes.
And I had no expectation that this would come to life in my presence. And it came to life in his presence. Yes. So he's saying there is confirmation, some validity into this allegation.
Yes.
Yeah. Then he is saying that all these people are crying in your name, Mnangagwa.
Yes.
And you are silent.
Yes.
That I don't like.
Yes.
Because we have come a long way for you now to be silent.
Yeah. And why is he silent?
When people... No, he's saying you must know the Constitution and you are clothed with all the legal mind to be able to make your own judgment.
Yes.
So what I'm hearing and what I'm seeing is a departure from what I would expect from you.
Yeah.
My wife talks the truth.
Yes. So which means he's relying on his wife. He actually believes that his wife says the truth. He trusts. He's telling us he trusts the wife.
No, if he trusted, you wouldn't even say it. You would have acted already in the reshuffle.
No, but
and thrown you off the bus.
No. Because but we are seeing it play here. The platform has been set for December for everything to act. As the reshuffle, those were shots being fired.
Grace is saying it's no longer December.
I know.
He's saying get off the bus now.
I know, but Mugabe is saying December.
Already exhausted. No. She is saying December is for the party. But Lacoste is no longer welcome in the bus. So when we arrive in December, Lacoste is not there. Mugabe yesterday, he says, we'll make the decision after December.
But did you see Lacoste's tweets after that? Did you see the tweets?
No. This is not, the tweets are not coming from Mnangagwa, is it?
Oh, yeah, from Mnangagwa.
Himself?
Yes. From his account
Tweeting.
that he uses every day. Let me send them to you on your WhatsApp.
Ah, okay. No, I didn't know that he was in the program.
No, he fired. Well. No. In that, the same account he uses to fire on Jonathan Moyo. He tweeted. He did fire on Grace yesterday. Let me send them to.
Oh, okay. So maybe you may share that with us.
I will share with you. I will continue with the conversation, and I'll share with.
Okay. So we have Rangai Chinyangarara. Mugabe is an ideology. Fundisi Joe said, ha ha ha. Then there is do you think that this is what I posted? Dixon Chuma, Mapostora Ana Kufunda. I know it for a fact. That is why Varukushandi Square, they are being used. Salamoyo, Gavaton. Now, Tinashe Mpasiri is watching. Fredson White, watching from Italy. Makufa Tinashe. The husband wasn't sure if the allegations were true. So because of these rallies, he is believing that ED wants to succeed the president. I would support Makufa. Fundisi Joe. In as much as there is advocacy for a woman position, I strongly think it's not Dr. Amai for the VP position. That's the one. School, Kupakwashe Mchenje. Now, can they just change the constitution at their own will, or permit you a certain procedure to change Mtemo or composition a presidency? What is happening in December? The stage is the party. They are party members, ZANU-PF party members, who are the ones who will be, I think, vested with the power to make those changes within the party. There's nothing to stop them from doing what they want to do. No, Mamshibe, Mugabe has no choice at this point. Age and fragility is equal to fear. Clark Bundai is watching. Jainu Mugabe is frail. Tinashe Mpasiri, when I met the First Lady in 1999 for the first time, after a conversation with her and signed her autograph for me, my friends laughed at me, saying she's irrelevant. Today, the narrative is different. Dr. Amai has proved to those who doubted her that she is relevant in Zimbabwe's political arena. Tipe Nyasha, welcome, you're watching. And Jane Yehu says, is she relevant? Dixon, Chuma, why are you running away from reality, Naimawere? We all heard him saying that, and we all know what he's capable of doing. Henry Msikawanu watching, Tokas Bururu watching, Judith Tariro Hungwe, share please. Masha Chidau is watching, and Savannah is back. Let's see whether we can punch her in. Then Ricky Richards Singawa is watching. What happens to Ngwena now? I think that Ngwena can answer himself. Marshal Dao, time will tell, boss. Time will always be pregnant with stories. It never lies. So we can only watch from the terraces. Jane, does Mugabe have a succession plan? Mugabe answered that question already, that I have no obligation to create a succession plan. No one created for me. And even if I wanted, it would be unconstitutional, it will be illegal. Oswald Chisaira, So everyone will not have a position during the Congress. Johnston Mamvura watching Papa, Charles Sharon following, Percy Musinake Matiza, Pama Monya, Muchengeti Joe, watching from Canada, Devson Chikwavira, Saka Takananga Kupinai. Hey, maybe we break here. Savannah, where are we heading?
Kwatakaenda kumawere zita renyu kumawere tikuenda kumawere.
So she says, no, we are going exactly to a point of no return.
No return.
Either you fall from the cliff and it's too late. Bridget Jones, Muchkasera, watching. Kekendo OD, a Gambian watching from Turkey. God save your country and the whole of Africa. So some people are praying for the country and some people are praying for ourselves. Watching Tetes Chaiwo, watching from Chicago, Alice Chinerera. Paka ipapa, twende kusango chaiko, twende kumawere. Simkai James, watching from the look of things, the outcome of the Congress is already out. If you didn't know, Simkai, you've said it so apt, so correct, so pointed that if you have eyes and you have ears, just to watch the space. The thing has gone kumawere.
Yeah.
So yeah, let's go to the other side. I agree with Kola. Mugabe is dependent on grace. This Regis Peter agrees with you, Savannah. You are not alone. Samuel Maramba, give each other a chance to finish talking so that we can follow the discussion. Ajay Singh, welcome. Stanley Karombo, how do you know it's ED's Twitter account? Be careful. So that's a question for Savannah.
Well, that's the usual account that he uses to tweet. So I send it to your WhatsApp.
Are you sure it's him tweeting?
Yeah, from his usual account.
Well,
I don't know that. We can only say it's him because whoever is tweeting from his account obviously is allowed to speak on his behalf.
No, but say what you know.
No, I'm not saying what I don't know. That's why I sent you the tweets because usually.
Yeah, so I think we can only assume here.
Yeah, we can only assume because it's coming from
our
account.
Yeah, so I think it's just an allegation, but she's convinced in her mind that the allegation is fact and true.
Okay, so can you pull the tweet? Can you pull the tweet?
Okay, let me check. Yeah, okay. So that because it would be unwise for us to use somebody to tweet when we know what can happen with tweets. Yeah, those who violate our party code or conduct because they think they have outgrown ZANU-PF are free to go and from their own bedroom dynasties. Munangagwa, I'll go nowhere. I'll fight tooth and nail against those making a mockery of ZANU-PF's founding principles, ethos, and values. It can't be Mnangagwa because he has always known that the principles are centered around Mugabe. I don't think he was naive all these years to only discover today that they were founding principles, because Mugabe also was a successor to a scheme of arrangement that allowed the founding president to be outside the basket.
Go ahead and read. Just tell us what he said.
Yeah.
Then people can judge.
My conscience obliges me to uphold the code of conduct of my beloved party. I refuse to be thrown into a shameful public political circus It can't be Mnangagwa.
How do you conclude it can't be Mnangagwa?
Because Mnangagwa loves Mugabe.
So, but he's not saying this to Mugabe. You must understand, he's saying this to Grace. You always attack the other person.
But what is the party without Mugabe?
But that's not what he's saying. What he's saying is that Grace does not understand where him and Mugabe and everybody else he will defend. He is saying that Grace.
So he's fighting Grace.
Yes, he's fighting Grace, not Mugabe.
And expecting Mugabe to be on which side?
No, but that's neither here nor there.
No, I'm saying is, once you start a fight,
yeah,
you must at least predict the outcomes.
Of course, but we agree. We agree that this is folly. Mnangagwa at this point he is fighting both Grace and Mugabe. And if he does not understand that, if he thinks Mugabe will choose him versus his wife, then he's just as foolish as we thought he was. At this point, this is why we are saying the only option for Mnangagwa is to stand up, pull his pants, tighten his belt, and speak up and say, I will not stand here and I am the vice president of this country. I was appointed as the vice president of this country. Unless I am not the vice president of this country, I will stand here and not listen to someone speak like this. He should stand up and say it. But if he don't stand up and say that, then we as the people watching, we understand he's a coward. He has no balls to stand up. He can go and fight anyone else. If he does not speak up and say that, then we agree that he's not the crocodile that people has always said he's a crocodile. That's just the bottom line. He has no other option except to stand up and fight it in public and say, I will not stand here and be insulted as the vice president of the country. If I am no longer the vice president, fire me, or he must resign. Those are the two options he has. Otherwise, he's just playing foolish.
Yeah. Okay. That's your take.
Yes.
Let's say Stanley says it's not a fact that Mapostore anakufunda. I'm educated and I'm postori. He's just trying to correct that. Then Tino's Guarumba, this is too much. While the economy is burning, Linus Lee, fair. Then let's go to Grace is in charge. I think there's a lot of comments. Watching from the look of things, the outcome of the Congress is already out. Justin Masawi watching, Elisha Majawiza watching, Bridget Jones. Can you share the contents, please? I've read it. Waiting. Cool made Zimbabwe the only country that hit rock bottom, and I thought there's no way it will go besides up, but it is hitting the other bottom. Bedroom politics. Chinekem Chai, Robert Matsamba. Grace is now in charge. Vamnangagwa, Vakazipigwa. Okay, what is your take on that?
Vamnangagwa, Vakazipigwa, and I'm not Vuma. Vamnangagwa at this point needs to go. Vanoita zvavakati advisor kuti kana uchirota anyone else being in charge of Zimbabwe except ZANU-PF, enda unobika doro because midzimu inenge yakurasha. At this point, midzimu yamurasha. He needs to go bika doro nekuti varashwa nemidzimu yavo. Vanga vachingovu, vanga vukure vagovukura. At this point, akuna achavanzwa Vamnangagwa. Nobody is listening to him. Just needs to take his. You see, there is. I do not understand why these guys do not understand an exit. Why don't they have an exit plan all the time? Just like Mugabe, if he had used his exit door when it was still available for him, he would have left with some dignity. Mnangagwa is doing the same thing. He does not know when to exit. If he was to come out now and say, I cannot continue to sit here while you are insulting me, I step down. I have tried my best. People would still have respect for him. But if he waits until they kick him out, it's going to be like Joyce Mujuru. We cannot accept Joyce Mujuru because Mujuru waited until she was kicked out. But she wanted to still be there. So we cannot trust her. So it's the same thing with Mnangagwa. Why can't you bow out?
Okay. Atapfuma Mananga is watching Gerard Masuku, watching True Savannah, Edam Javanu, Tinashe Mpasuri, who has confirmed that it's actually Mnangagwa's official Twitter account. There are ED supporters who have opened Twitter accounts on the name of Mnangagwa. Edam Javanu, Isingwe no deal now. He can't stand up because he has been exposed already na JM. They gathered all the evidence and Anna Marambiro Makufa Tinash. Catherine Mija, my sis, is not easy. He's dealing with the devils. Tawanda Musadziwana Mnangagwa Benziro Moon. Full stop. God will sina masino. Tetes Chaizo, but the tweet might be from a sympathizer personifying as Mnangagwa. Secure claims, I'm disappointed with Mnangagwa. You may find that in this social media world, there are people actually who want Mnangagwa to be thrown out.
To be what?
And they are busy every day. They are busy every day trying to push him off the bus so that this party can implode.
Yes.
So there are people with Twitter accounts who every day want to provoke Mnangagwa.
Yeah, but this one is coming from... It came from the usual account.
I don't know what the usual, but I'm saying is in this dirty game politics,
yeah,
anything is possible because they know that the first lady actually does follow social media, and she's got children who follow social media. Yeah. She's got a support system that is up to the news. Yeah. So they know that as long as they keep on tweeting and poking her nose, she will continue to react. Well, and whereas Mnangagwa may not be a man of Twitter, no, may be a man of memories, and he still remembers the Mugabe he met some 40 years or 60 years ago, I don't know, and doesn't know that the world is changing every minute. Right now, even after she has spoken, people are at work.
Yeah.
Already analyzing, over-analyzing, and unearthing, and putting their own words into what she says.
Yeah.
So that's why I say let's go beyond the headline.
Yeah.
Because we may discover actually that Mugabe and Mnangagwa is saying, Jesus, how can I betray you? I will never think of betraying you. And that's where he comes in.
Well, the thing is, we cannot put words into Mnangagwa's mouth. We can only go with what is out there, right?
That's right.
So that very account is the same account that I follow all the time when Mnangagwa is fighting with Jonathan Moyo. So I am very confident it's the same account that he speaks from, whether it's him whether it's people who tweet for him, whether he's agreed that these people should tweet for him as his secretary or whatever. It's the same account that he has used every time to attack Jonathan Moyo with. So that's the same account.
No, I'm saying is that's what you believe.
That's what I'm saying. I'm saying we are just following that same account that it has not been disputed that it's not Mnangagwa's account.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I'm saying, yeah, so let's try to veer towards fact and we leave fiction.
In ZANU-PF,
because fiction,
in ZANU-PF, where do you find fact? Who's going to come and give you fact except Grace?
No, Grace has said it loud and clear. And Mnangagwa has said, I'll never. He has been interviewed before. And if you look at what Mnangagwa said about Joyce, I think it may be interesting. Mnangagwa on Joyce. Why don't we Google and see?
Yeah.
Where the angle Google.
Yeah, I think you can do it. I'm on two. I'm on one of. I have just my phone right now.
Okay, let me just check Mnangagwa on Joyce. On Joyce, whether he celebrated on her demise. Because the same script is being played, but with a different character.
Yeah, exactly. This has played before. That's the thing. That's what we have to look at.
Yeah.
Which is what I'm telling people, that when Grace Mugabe wanted her position in the beginning, when she was a nobody, she had no position in the party. This played very much so, and it was Joyce Mujuru who went under attack. The same accusations, right? And now it's replaying itself, and it's Mnangagwa, and she's now not mincing her words. She's saying Tirikuda Chigaro Chedu. They want their dress back. They had given Mnangagwa a dress, and we all know Mnangagwa wears a dress. Now they want their dress back. You can't be going around with a borrowed dress.
Okay, so I think because I think Mnangagwa did acknowledge that the first lady was Madam Stop It, and so we can just check what Madam Stop It is. Yeah.
Madam Stop It is doing for me. I'm just going to talk while you're doing your keyboard skills, as Blessing is saying. He's laughing at your keyboard skills.
Oh, okay. That's it. Okay.
But did you find it?
It says, okay. Mugabe. Where is? Yeah.
Okay, let me read the comments here while you are doing that.
Yeah. Okay.
Tikwa claims, says, I'm disappointed.
Okay, yeah,
you found it?
Playing. It's playing now.
Oh.
Stop it. Now, Madam, stop it. Comrade, stop it. Ndopataka vhurika tose kuti pane zvakawanda zvanga zvichiitika vazhinji tisingazivi, vazhinji vasingazivi zvaizikamwa nevashomani, ndopazvakagura rose ndokuda pachena. Now stop it. And vakazvita stop it. Ndokuzodzamara kana kukongresa havana kuzouya nokuti ndikureva runaita haana kuzouya kukongresa nokuti zvaa zvafunugwa zvose zvanga zvichiitika kuti chokwadi kere yakadero yaida kuuraya president, yaida kubvisa vamugabe pachigaro vachitsikirwa naDidmus naRugare Gumbo. Pass navo! ZANU-PF ine kumbero mutemo waro watinochengetedza watinotevedza. Ukaramba uchitevedza mirayiro iyoyo iri muconstitution medu, unogara ugogara urimo muZANU-PF. Hakuna chino kuona. Asi kana wapindomo oti ndazipikwa, odzikwa, oda kusvika pausina kunzisvika, mutemo iyoyo inokutonga zvakare. Asi ZANU-PF inoramba ichingoinda. The revolution will continue to unfold. And those who told the correct line of the revolution will continue to move forward. Vanenge vachipesana, the revolution yedu will be thrown aside. Ndokana tichikudzama comrades angu kuMidlands kuti ndokuMidlands kunenzou kuda kuti munowandizivi kuti ZANU-PF yakafanana nenzou. Kana nzou dzichibva padzinobva dzichipfuura pamushapa vahungwe, tumbwa tiri pamushapa vahungwe tinovukura, tugovukura, zhou ichingofamba mafambiro ayo. Harikatari kuti kune mvura dzavukura, iro dzakareka pfuura tuchingovukura. Ndo ZANU-PF. Mungawana tumas tichingovukura, tugovukura. So ZANU-PF will continue to go.
Oh my God. So this was when he was, when VP Mujuru was under attack, right?
That's right.
And this is so profound because this is exactly what is happening to him. I wonder what words he would use for himself.
Yeah. That's what we are saying. History is no memory, but it only records.
Yes.
Because when you are saying something, you actually don't know it may happen.
Yes.
To you.
Yes.
Yeah. So if you look at am I Grace?
Yes.
All right. Oh, sorry. So Apo, how to analyze it?
And the screen has around why.
No, she's talking about yeah, okay. So that is the Madam Stop It.
Yes.
Yeah. There is a lot of things that you can say deja vu. And those who could predict could see it coming. I see Max Munyaradzi Nyashan Mutuma. I am a bona fide Shavane resident, and it's the home that I've always known. I partly blame you for failure to fight enough for the people of Shavane, and that disease is the same with all the men of Zimbabwe in this generation.
Yes, I agree.
Always failed to fight for what they believe, for the greater cause.
Yes.
Yeah, I I cannot fight you, Max, because the powers used to fight me were powers.
Yeah, but you should have stood up your ground, like we are accusing Mnangagwa of not standing up his ground. You also.
I've stood my ground. I'm still standing up. I've been fighting. I've been in 24 courts on this matter. What else can I do?
Well, the people want to hear the voices of the men of Zimbabwe standing up and saying this is not okay, but not one man is standing up and saying it. Yes, we understand you have been fighting in the courts. That is okay, but the voices are what is missing. The voices of the men standing up, speaking out. It's what is missing, and that is what we are looking for. You're fighting on an individual base. You're fighting for yourself.
Right now, by sharing with you, I am actually adding to your mind being unlocked.
Of course, I agree.
If imagine Jesus was retailing faith and he had to touch 1 million people, how many years would he have taken?
I agree.
Social media, Max, is about optimization.
I agree.
Right now, we are talking about what the First Lady said today. But we were not there. But we have been part of that experience. Then it is all of us who can then say, how we are talking about something more dangerous and more sinister. Because yesterday, it was Mnangagwa saying it is the gypsies who are being attacked by Hitler. What do you expect? The gypsies have left real estate to be mobile animals. If they are mobile animals and an animal dies in the animal kingdom, there is no conceivable loss.
Yes.
And they celebrated the fate of the gypsies. When it came to the Jews, then they said, hang on, had we known that this fire, this cancer was going to spread. Yesterday, there was a minister of justice who never saw justice. Today, the same injustice that he was celebrating is the same medicine that is being dispensed by the same doctor who had dispensed the medicine.
And he must drink it.
Now, he cannot avoid drinking it because the doctor has become an expert at dispensing medicines that have a limiting factor.
Yes.
Mujuru, Gumbo.
Yes.
Didmas Mutasa.
Yes.
They were reduced to barking dogs.
Yes.
And it worked.
It worked.
Now, Jonathan was removed to a barking dog and they stopped the train, found him at the next station, saying, please get me into the train. I know what it is like being outside the train. And now he's in the train. So if these methods have worked so far, who am I to then say the medicine, the doctor is wrong?
It's definitely going to work unless it's going to work unless Mnangagwa does something very extraordinary, which is what we are saying. At this point, he cannot just continue to sit achiombera and clap hands achizipigwa, like he said, takazipigwa. He used those words, not us. So arikuzipigwa ere at this point. So he has to do something extraordinary. Spit that medicine out and say, hey, I am the VP of the country, because he is the VP of the country, whether he was appointed or not. At his very moment, he's still the VP. So if he stands up at this very moment and says, as the VP of the country, because Grace Mugabe has no position to be speaking about things that are happening in the government. because she is not in the government. So VP can speak out and stand up, which is what we are saying. Taneta, we have no men who can speak up and stand up and say, no, Grace, you stop it. You cannot continue to speak like this. Nobody's standing up. Nobody. Everybody just sits there and folds their tail.
Okay. So you are raising an issue which requires, I think, interrogation. That Savannah, you guys are not paying attention. If you are still expecting ED to do something.
No, I'm not expecting him. I'm not. Me, I'm satisfied that this is ED.
Welcome, Joseph. Yeah?
Me, I'm...
Anzi Zamomera na Joseph. Anzi Munaomer. Ndaziziva kuti amugushai pano. How can they stand up? They say something, they lose their jobs. So we are just saying it's not over the last 37 years plus some months. There are a lot of people who have been in the bus, and there have been vuvuzelas also.
Yes.
Who naively thought that they would be spared.
Yes.
The guillotine.
Yes.
Only to discover that the guillotine was long enough. And it is biting. Glenda K says, for some reason, I'm enjoying the circus, but at the same time, I feel sorry for Zimbabwe and its people. Zimbabwe need should we feel sorry for this man called Zimbabwe, woman called Zimbabwe? Glenda, you may discover that Zimbabwe is just neutral. Doesn't even have a feeling, no heart, nothing. Heartless. Zimbabwe is saying, guys, get on with the show. I'm not a party to this. But the people of Zimbabwe, if the differences between the First Lady and Mnangagwa were ideological and were principled, then we would say, let's go to the public square to discuss and debate those differences. Like Marx says, who would watch and see the whole of Mashaba and Rishavani being decimated under their watch? Who would be a bona fide resident of Rishavani who would be quiet only to ask Mutuma to be the reason why the mines should be open? Whereas the people whose lives were touched and integrated into the mine are the very people who are asking questions about their own government. What disease would visit you that will allow 13 years of madness? When it was happening to SMM, other people thought it was gypsies. Marx thought it was gypsies. Only to ask, Mawel, where were you? Without asking the men in the mirror. And tomorrow, we are starting a show in the morning on radio called Play Your Part. If you look at the world, 7.3 billion people, some are dying every second. Some are entering this society of ours, the living, every second, every nanosecond. They arrive in this world and try to figure out what the hell is going on. Can each one of us account for what we are not doing? Why is it that we want a president? The First Lady said President Mugabe came from heaven, not from a womb of a woman. So what is she saying beyond the headlines? She is saying, you are a son of a woman. or a daughter of a woman. And the difference is that my husband was sent, Gabriel. He was sent to civilize you. And then you look around and say, what is civilization? If the resident of Zishawani, Max Nyashanu, has been sleeping for the past 13 years, were it not for social media, he will be accepting and say, it is Mawere's job, it is Mugabe's job, it is Amai's job. Even Amai, you may discover now she's being thrown in this driver's seat. And she's saying, can I do it? Oh, everyone says, you can do it. And the next day you gain confidence. You can drive the car. What's wrong with you? And every day she's gaining confidence. And then the next day she says, why not discotheque?
Yep.
If not, why not?
If not me, then why not?
Why can't I be the first?
Yep.
Since you guys are all wimps, you are all castrated, you are all useless, I now suffer the burden.
But
I
she
used
did
to be outside.
Didn't she say it yesterday when she said, VP Mnangagwa, when you left the constituents in your area, you gave it to your wife. And now, when it comes to my family, why is it that you are saying it's wrong for my husband to leave his position to me? Why can he not do the same thing as you did? She said it yesterday.
Yeah, and she said it today.
Yeah.
That please bear with me. I am a victim. And if I'm a victim, therefore, I have to act in your interest, in your name. Other people are saying, no, it can't be our name. But get into your mind to say, my husband, he speaks in parables, in riddles, and at the end of the day, Mnangagwa is still vice president.
Yes.
When I say, stop it.
Yes.
When I say, get out of the kitchen, get out of the kitchen.
Yeah.
A decision has been made by the First Lady that they are incompatible, that Mnangagwa is holding a seat that is a borrowed seat.
Yeah.
He is actually not vice president because a mistake was made, a grave injustice was made.
Yes.
That's what we are saying. Let's go beyond the headlines and try to unpack, unlock, so that you can understand in the manner in which it is.
Yeah.
According to what we are listening to. Because the First Lady is very clear that I am a victim. I'm being attacked every day. I am defenseless because my husband is surrounded by cockroaches, by crocodiles, by caterpillars, by whatever name. She has said that the only people I can trust are people who are on my side, who understand the plight of this woman, the mother of the nation, the mother of the president's children. Now I'm being called a prostitute. I'm being called names. By who? By political parasites.
Yeah.
Who are depending on sucking blood from my husband and lying to him. I have no protocol. I have no secrets. I will say it out. So I am doing that. So as far as she is concerned, she is as much a victim. But she's got the audience to say so.
She's waiting for the people to anoint her.
No, she has already gone to my post story.
But that's what I'm saying, quote unquote. She's waiting for the people. Yeah. But we know what...
You can't wait when you can't wait when you're already with the people. Was she there today? Okay. Was she there today with Mugabe?
Huh?
She was not there with Mugabe.
Yeah, she was by herself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So it says, let's watch. Okay, guys, can't believe we're discussing Greshua. Then
I disagree with Marshall. Marshall, my friend, these things have to be discussed. And like I always say, you know, our base gets ignited by certain things. And sometimes we have to use whatever it is that ignites them to be able to get to have an audience with our base, with the citizen. That is the citizen. I'm talking about the citizen. It is very difficult to get citizens to come and listen so we can talk about the issues of Zimbabwe. So whatever it is that ignites them is what we need to talk about so that they can participate. So Marshall, bye. Me, I have to go too. But it is real. Zimbabweans, we have to understand that when everything is happening in ZANU-PF, because a lot of people say, oh, we shouldn't pay attention to what is happening in ZANU-PF. There has never been a separation between ZANU-PF, the government, and the state, and everything that happens. So what happens in ZANU-PF affects us as citizens, unfortunately, which it shouldn't, because ZANU-PF is not the government. But because there is no separation between the government and ZANU-PF, it does affect us. So we have to be listening. We have to participate. However, we understand and we have to continue with the line of thought that this is only going to end 2018 when we make up our mind who or the change that we want. We are not here to tell people who to vote for, but people have to make up their own mind and get organized and participate. That's just the bottom line.
Yeah. So I think that's you can, yeah, we have a lot of questions, a lot of comments, and I'll just take the next 15 minutes to dispose of some of them.
Okay.
So that, yeah, we can see where we are going. I think, Mr. Mawere, you were once part of ZANU-PF. It's people like you, Munanga Gwami Jurumutasa, and other erstwhile ZANU-PF politicians who created this Mugabe dynasty. Mugabe has become a law unto himself, and he thinks he owns Zimbabwe. Mugabe is deluded, and you guys created that cult. Already, according to Aaron, I am part of something called ZANU-PF.
I see that.
And that's where we come from, that ignorance cannot be cured by ignorance.
Yeah.
People must invest to understand what ZANU-PF is. I don't think Grace is ZANU-PF. She's speaking as Grace. Mnangagwa is also a member of ZANU-PF, but she's attacking a member of ZANU-PF. So members can attack each other and can be able to find something. But once we begin to say you are part of something, then one must understand what being part of means. Practically, legally, what does it mean? The party belongs to its members. And I think in a few weeks, people will go to the Congress, and those who are members will decide. And those who are not will just continue to talk. If I was a member, then actually it should be for ZANU-PF members to say so, that Mawere was one of us. Not to someone who can pontificate outside the bus and say, I know Mawere is in the bus. Or like Savannah says, I know the Twitter account is Mnangagwa's Twitter account because I know so.
No, I'm not saying I know so. I'm saying
no. I'm just poking you.
I'm not Mnangagwa's secretary. least
no, you see, there are people who would conclude that because the name is Mnangagwa, therefore it must be him. He also may be saying to his wife, what did I do? The people who are putting my name forward, I have never asked them.
Yeah.
I have never sought their support.
Yeah.
Yet they are putting me to fight the only father I know.
Yeah.
Because Mnangagwa is saved in Mugabe's cabinet.
Yep.
Unlike Mawere.
Yep.
And then Taure Nechishona. Yeah, we are talking on Facebook. I don't know, Facebook Live. Facebook, what is the Shona word for Facebook?
She saw book. Book. I don't know. She saw book.
It's a book. Okay. I think Kudata Muka. Maybe let's start a new technology because she saw.
Yeah. She saw.
Yeah. She saw my book.
Yeah.
If you can hear in English, let's use the same language to unpack, demystify. Because we sometimes don't go below. We don't go. And bukure so. Namambi. So to tanga bukure so.
Bukure so.
Then guaro so.
Guaro so.
That's yeah. Now we are improving our Shona so that we go to death knowing better.
Yeah.
Let's use the language of money. If Savannah can go to America and still love Zimbabwe, there must be something in America that she's not telling us. So why didn't she go to Albania?
Because I cannot speak. I cannot speak the language. This is English is
okay, but you are there.
I understand what Taure is saying, but we have people here who speak different languages. That's just the courtesy we are doing. We cannot just assume that everybody here speaks Shona. I am a Shona and I speak very fluent Shona, but English is actually my second language. I struggle with it, but it's the language that allows me to communicate with other people and people to understand me who are not Shona. So we'll continue to...
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think there's nothing wrong in conversing because those who are not gifted with the power of the voice or even to hear others, they are also human.
Yeah.
So
right.
Whatever we can use to hear each other, understand each other.
Yeah.
Even for you to say, speak in Shona, then it means you are listening.
Yeah.
Because if you are not listening, you would not know what language we're using.
So now Jiva has given us the Ndebele version of Gwalolobuso.
Yeah, Gwalolobuso.
Yeah.
So I think we are all gravitating towards somewhere. English is just like any other language. So I think there is no harm in borrowing the language that has been used to confuse us. What option do we have at the moment in terms of leadership in Zimbabwe? That seems promising and organized. Gire is just protecting family interests. Let's look beyond that, outside the rhetoric, the Costa Dementos. Okay, what option do we have at the moment? Maybe the first thing is, let's define we. Before we look at
leave
option.
you to define we on your own, because I have to go.
No, that's fine. You can.
All right.
You can take leave after you say goodbye.
All right. Bye.
Bye. They say, where is Simba Makoni? I don't know of Simba Makoni. And I think, De Costa, you are raising a valid issue. What options do we have at the moment? Is it a leadership problem? Or is it an issues problem? Values problem? principles problem. What kind of Zimbabwe do you want to see, Da Costa? Do you want to see a Zimbabwe in which a few individuals appear to be related to the idea of power, or power is democratized, where everybody feels they count? If you were to reimagine Zimbabwe, where would you start? Would you start by looking for a leader? Or would you start by identifying what are the problems and how best can those problems be solved? Where are the problems? Who causes them? I think it's so easy to personalize problems and say all the problems are a consequence of the actions or missions of one individual. Who is that individual who is capable of absorbing all the problems and to personify them? Yes, one may say Dr. Amai is a problem. We all may say that the family of Mugabe is the problem. But what is the universe of the Zimbabwe problem, if it can be aggregated to a Zimbabwe problem? And if we are dealing with issues, then we have to go beyond the individuals and to look at where the fault lines may lie. Is it Grace of today who has created all these disconnections? Is this problem an old problem that has seen lives of people being ruined even before any utterance by Grace? Is it a Mnangagwa problem? Is it Kasukuere's problem? Jonathan Mono's problem? Whose problem is it? And if we were to identify the laundry list of the problem, which problems will be the priority? Some, Victor says, Chibongo says, we need brand new people, not Anna Simba Makoni. Changirai, we need fresh blood. But if the problem is old, does it require fresh blood to deal with old problems? Is it person-centric or is value-centric? And we need to disregard parties. They don't work. Should parties work? Is that the kind of Zimbabwe that you want to see, where actually the party as a human construct is given life and it now works? Is it the kind of civilization that you want? If it is, then let's talk about it. Then Antonio Mavunde said, Mnangagwa has no problem. He has principles. Let's list the principles of Mnangagwa. What are they? When Joyce Mjuru was given a red pass, where did he stand? On the right side, on the left side? What are the principles that have informed Mnangagwa's character for him to be in the bus that has passed through this station of 2017? And today, with the First Lady coming into the fray. All these years she has been quiet. What has caused here, what has ignited here to join the fray? If those principles were known and commonly agreed, why would she be the president of the Women's League if the principles were there? Kwa N says, Youth League run by people over 40 years. Who are the youth? Should problems be age-centric? That if you are below a certain age, then you must have the IP to solve a problem. Joshua Maponga, the family in power is not country in power. Is a family capable of being in power? Can we seriously reduce a country to a family perimeter or circumference? The arrogance of Miss President offends me. A train needs a driver. She is saying, she is spinning her own side. What is your side? She is saying, if you are against me, you must go. If you are for me, you must stay, irrespective of what mischief you may be up to. That's her standpoint. And ZANU-PF must split beyond what it is. And technically, ED is a devil whom you can work with for the next one term of office while opposition leadership is found. And come 2018, Zimbabwe is losing the only chance to at least force a government of national unity. Otherwise, Mugabe and his cronies will return with more catastrophic results. Again, you are saying ED, the men. You're not saying there comes a time when people must begin to look beyond the individuals and go and deal with the issues. What time is it in Zimbabwe? Is it ED's time? Is it Dr. Amai's time? Or it's your time to reflect and think? Max Munyaradzi Nyashan, but with regard to the issues that you are talking about, how does the story of repentance work in relation to the political landscape? Can we really say that in politics, the matter of once a bad man, always a bad man? It might be a fact of fact that Mnangagwa akazipigwa asi hazvirevi kuti angakona kuziva right and wrong now. It is also a fact that ED has never outright to come in the open declining his ambitions. So zvinonetsa kuti vamudzinge, the best is to provoke a response so as to find solution. Again, Max, it's not anyone to say you must repent, but values do matter. Most of these countries that have done well, they have people who in themselves have certain way of thinking about certain things. When you hear a vice president and a woman is being told that she went to the witch doctor and that she tried to overthrow the president, you on your own, you'll be able to know what is right or wrong and say, okay, hang on, if this is the case, what is being said? If you look at what Dr. Mai say, she's saying Professor Moyo was alleged to have abused public funds. And in response, a committee was appointed by the president to investigate and make a finding. Which finding was made? Is that the kind of country you want to live in, where the president becomes seized with investigative matters and becomes the chief investigating officer or presides over a determination of wrong or right? Is that what you want? How have we sunk this low if all of us, including ED, understood what a government is and ought to be? We would have known that the government is a property of the people, not a property of the few. So if you don't deal with those issues and want to hero worship one or want to do this and say things will change, they also come with their own cliques, cabals, and limited government, where the government must be inclusive. Other people don't want it to be inclusive because they benefit from exclusivity. So I don't think it's an issue of an individual. We have to be talking as we are learning from what is happening. Go beyond the headlines. What is the First Lady saying? If Mnangagwa had toed the line, he will be okay. And those who are towing the line today, if they cross their path tomorrow, they also may be on the wrong side of history. Listen carefully. And this is public power we're talking about. It's not private power. So let's go beyond the headlines and be able to say, what kind of future do we want to see? How best can it be secured? Marx, you then say, Mutuma, the story of SMM is but one of the major sad stories of our time, that people have to be answerable to either to an authority of this lifetime or the next. What if Mnangagwa is the chief culprit in the SMM matter? Are you prepared to say enough is enough? Can he account for that? Where was he when all this drama unfolded? Who protected the people of Shawani? Who did this? So answer accountability, yes, but understand this whole issue. Where does it originate from? And who was the chief culprit? First principle is loyalty to his master. Yes. Should it be the principle or loyalty to principles where you stand as a man or a woman? John Te, why in Kenya 2 terms seems like Mugabe's 30-year rule? I don't know what is it about Kenya that would what? Would convince you that 2 terms is 30 years. But be as it may, if you didn't participate in creating this extended nightmare, then look at yourself in the mirror and say, what could I have done differently to secure the kind of future that I want to see? Mnangagwa admitted in the clip you played us, when he said that most of us, we were not aware. That alone makes me give him the benefit of doubt on the new unconstitutional order to have the center of power make these changes at Congress. If you're not aware, then you go to the people, because it is not your personal memory that you want to activate. It is the memory of others. This is a collective project, because government cannot have legitimacy outside the people who create it and fund it and make it alive and well. So let's deal with this demon. What kind of government do we want? Play your part, Max. If you play your part, you will find that there are answers that you are not even thinking of. This is a drama that is being played in front of you. Victor Chibongo said, does Zimbabwe belong to ZANU-PF or to Zimbabwe? ZANU-PF is a human creature. It's Zimbabwe African National Union. It was a union of individuals who came together. They've continued to use that label, that umbrella. Some just to gain a living. Some to be relevant. Some to be able to crystallize a message that they can sell to the people of Zimbabwe. But ultimately, the people of Zimbabwe are the owners of Zimbabwe. It's not ZANU-PF. ZANU-PF has no interest in Zimbabwe. But you must have an interest. If we can understand that one, then we can make headway progress. ZANU-PF is a club, like any church, like any NPO, like any marriage. It's a marriage of believers, of the willing. And it is a marriage that you can set up another ZANU-PF 1 or 2 or 3. MDC have given enough examples to show that actually MDC can mutate into different tentacles. I listened to both rallies today and yesterday, and all slogans were praising the first couple as individuals. Too much bootlicking is the main problem. Yes, people want to be led so much. People look up to other people. They don't look up to themselves. So at the top, we put somebody. But is he on the top? This is what confuses most of us about public power. What is it? Is it something that I can take and package and put in the freezer and unlock it and pour it out? Or it's your power, your silence is an integral part of misgovernance that you end up complaining about. That the First Lady, if you approach her today to say, First Lady, do you agree that the whole promise of independence was a separation of powers? That there cannot be one center of power as a principle, period. That power itself, if it exists, it must be distributed. That there must be checks and balances. That even if you don't like me, it should not be sufficient for you to pass a law like SMM, Reconstruction Act, just to regulate the affairs. You know that this law has no general application, but you put it in place for the purpose of achieving an ulterior end. So that is what you must be concerned about. Who knew? Who didn't know? And those who knew that public power was being used for ulterior purposes have an obligation to then question and say, First Lady, we hear you want to get rid of corruption. Where do we start? And what should be the criterion? Because some may be on your side, which means they can't do no wrong. Some may be your children, which means you can't penalize them. What if I fall outside your perimeter? Am I still welcome in Zimbabwe? Is it still the Zimbabwe promise? Is it still the same Zimbabwe that people fought for to get where we are today? That why fight for independence only to have a bitter harvest where people are complaining about the very people they were supposed to be celebrating and cheering and vuvuzeling? So what has happened in Zimbabwe to take away this spirit, the spirit of forward leaning, the spirit of moving up the chain? So TC, the concept of democrats only works when there is pressure from the people. Otherwise, individuals are motivated by self-interest. You can't say it better than that. There is no exception. There is self-interest in everybody. And understanding that, then we understand the project. That how do we limit selfishness? Selfishness has happened in Goma. That is, it will happen again. Whether it's Mnangagwa is president, whether it's a little imagined Jesus, there will still be self-interest. It is only when active citizens exist that democracy can exist. That is the only answer, that vigilance, active citizenship, go beyond the headlines. Start to analyze what is the mindset that informs some of the utterances that are made. Is it a mind that is trying to build Zimbabwe to a better place where we all can take care of our own business, or is it a Zimbabwe that creates dependence, that creates patronage? And Zimbabweans are too selfish to live in a democratic nation. They are simply not interested in active politics. It's not just a Zimbabwean problem, TC. It's a global, universal problem. People generally are disconnected from the things that matter to them most. This gives the presidium a lot of courage to do whatever they want. This is exactly what gave Mugabe the courage to become a dictator. You may discover that Mugabe does not need courage to be who he is. He actually has been allowed to be who he is by all of us. Grace is now holding tenacious group. She will be the next president if we don't fight this dynasty. Don't fight a dynasty, fight for what you believe in. Grace is just one individual who still has to present herself to you as the owner of Zimbabwe. She's not saying I'll have a coup. Today she went there, she was talking in front of people who were listening. Zimbabwe is giving Shepherd Manyika, Zimbabwe is giving the First Lady too much power. We're not ready to be governed by a lady. You may be right, Shepherd. But remember that Zimbabwe has no power to give, Zimbabwe has no power to take. The power is inherent in you. The power is yours. It's not governmental power. Don't say you are not ready, because one individual cannot change the world, but one individual can shake history by doing something that other people are not doing. What is it that you are doing, Shepherd? Zimbabwe is you. Zimbabwe, when it speaks through you. What are you saying? The First Lady not just mushroom into a microphone, into a stage. No. Time has elapsed. Time has opened new avenues where new voices are being heard, where new voices that were bottled up. What if the First Lady say, I have been staying as a First Lady for far too long while I saw things happening and I couldn't change them. And I decided to be the change that I want to see. And other people approached me. She has told you what she did to get Mama Hofa become a Minister of State. It was according to the ED who said no. Yet she orchestrated the idea. They managed to recruit women to go to the president so that she doesn't expose herself. And said, we women in the Women's League, we think it's fit and proper to do this. Which is what they're saying now. It's fit and proper for one of the two vice presidents or three vice presidents to be a woman. That's what they're saying. Take it or leave it. But this is the position of the party. And they're presenting it in so logical a manner. And they're also saying, once that resolution has been made, the choice as to who should be the vice president is no longer the president's choice. It will come from the women themselves, because they're tired of men deciding which women must represent them. So the stage is clear. The pathway is clear. And these people know exactly where they're going. So, Shepherd, where are you going? Are you expecting Zimbabwe to be the voice and you the bystander? Nimrod Mringani, welcome. Glenn Mapani, welcome. So let's not expect miracles. Let's begin to talk about the kind of Zimbabwe you want to see. What it should be, should its character be? What should be the personality? Disregard any other people you may dislike. Just think about Zimbabwe. Just think about you. If you were to have a presiding officer in government or a magistrate in government, what kind of chief magistrate would you want? What powers would you want for that magistrate? Would you want that chief magistrate to be the only center of power with no checks and balances? Would you want that chief magistrate to be the tribunal? Would you want that chief magistrate to pronounce you innocent? What kind of Zimbabwe do you want? Let's get away from this. We now know that the stakes are high. And even within the State House, there is no one view. I think President is still trying to struggle with this idea that Mnangagwa could be what he's being portrayed to be. Even with Joyce Mujuru, I think even until last minute, he was also struggling with this idea of what is going on. And there's never closure, because you may have worked with somebody else. You may have been married to someone else for long, and people assume you know each other better than you do. So we need to abstract. We need to talk outside the limitations. I beg to differ. We can't hold influential posts. That's why we put people to captain the ship. Their decision affects innocent mass than innocent end. Yes, you are right. You may be right that the person you have elected by electing that must change the character, personality of the beneficiary of your vote. But what I do know is that human beings are so stubborn, they are so independent, they are sovereign, they are so self-determining. And if they are random, they are irrational, they are egotistic, they are nepotistic, you must be careful to trust any man to make the decisions that you must make for yourself. You can't create government to substitute you. You are you. People in government are people are there who they are. So let's not try to create monsters out of people. They can't. Jesus was just what he was. And he left people to fend for themselves. And you must be able to abstract from there and play your part. What is your part? You can't conquer the world. You can't be in 20 places at the same time. You can't have 3 eyes. You can't have 4 ears. You can't have 1 mouth. So let's try to optimize on what we have. Each one of us has a duty to share the message of what we are talking about. Terence Mandemo, I think Grace is right. Women should decide for themselves, and also 1 woman VP and 1 male. That's the narrative that they are presenting. They are also negotiating with men, and they seem to be getting far. It has now been accepted that the constitution will be amended to make for this provision. Once it's done, it's done. And they're saying, Mnangagwa, you're on your own. Because if you are a vice president, having taken over from Mr. Mujuru, that post is not yours. It's ours. Now we want it back. What's wrong with that? That they will argue. That by appointing you as vice president, Mugabe must pronounce whether he was appointing you to succeed him. And Mugabe said, no, I appointed my assistant. And he's now doubting whether he made a mistake by appointing Mnangagwa. If he had appointed a woman, would there be a succession problem now? That's the question that is in Mugabe's mind. How is he going to resolve it? When is he going to resolve it? It's for him to figure out. But the wife will be always there next to him, poking him, massaging him, making sure that he makes the decision in the context in which she is positioning her issues. And she has the proximity to the decision-making person. The appointing authority is next to her. So you can't avoid that happening anyway. The influence is there. Innocent, I want transparent Zimbabwe with law and order, remove the siege of power. Yes, transparency is you, it's your government. You may want something, you may need something, but needs and wants are just ideas. You have to do something to secure those wants. So, Innocent, transparency does not have legs. It requires you to be its agent for it to have life. So I've done my bit. I've shared what I can share for today. I think what I can leave you is your own inherent power to look at facts, to look at what is happening around you, to look at what is being said, what is not being said. Where is this all going to? What is the direction? What is the end game? And when the storm is over, who will be standing? And those who will be standing, what will be they standing on? Which side of the value sets that you think ought to inform Zimbabwe would they be standing on? The choice is yours. The choice is mine. All of us, we have a stake. That's why we are talking about it. Should we talk about Dr. Mai? Yes, we have to. But then we must go beyond that and begin to think outside the small box of our little minds and what our minds can individually absorb, and try to find what is in our collective interest. It's not easy, because it's not easy to have a stadium that can accommodate even 1 million people. We just won't come in together. And we need to be able to find some closure to this conversation. And I don't think there's anyone who wins this conversation. There are no winners, there are no losers. Zimbabwe is a project that belongs to all who live in it. And those who live in it are concerned about what is not being done. That wasted energy is directed at something else. If you believe that the energy should be directed towards some positive end, you have a stake in it. You have a role to play. And don't underestimate the power, the inherent power in you to change the trajectory, to be the voice, to be the change that you want to see. On that note, I will say goodbye until we negotiate another time that we can talk about these matters in a manner that will be able to take us to another destination, another level. We all walk on untrodden grounds, yet every day we think we know what the future brings. Anything is possible. 5 weeks is too long in the lives of men. And we ought to blame because we are very circumspect in our point. You are right, Innocent. When we agree that we all take responsibility, that we can't be so simplistic and minimalist as to think that Grace's utterances are where the issues are. That is the address we ought to focus on. The correct address is you and me. And Charlotte Chabata says that woman needs a leash. You may hold that view, Charlotte. You are entitled to hold it. But this is not about a woman, about a man. No. This is about you. This is your future. What kind of future do you want? Grace has already said the future that she wants is the one that she's working for. If you believe that there's an alternative future, nothing is lost by you asserting it. What kind? Let's not focus our conversations on the utterances of one woman in a country of 13 million. What can one person do? You can only do what is possible within the realm of life. So she is limited as you are limited. So Charlotte, please go beyond this woman. Zimbabwe has been deteriorating from day one, 37 plus years ago. Ian Smith knew something. that the ideas that seem to inspire the new governors, if you call them, those ideas were fatally defective and patently wrong. Should we not revisit those ideas? Was the construction of the ideas to build a new Zimbabwe well-founded, well considered? If not, then let's not talk to the driver who is driving without knowing where they are going. Let's go to the idea of this journey of independence. Was it well considered? Was it well thought out? If not, why? What is it that we need to do in this year of the Lord 2017, in this month of November? Because each day that elapses, we can't bring it back. So I do hope that we all can give ourselves time to think. Thank you for giving our gut instincts. It's up to us to build our future. You're talking in riddles to mediocres. I think if I'm talking in riddles to mediocres, they're innocent, please break it down. Because you now know what a mediocre is and what a sophisticated mind is. If you do, please be the change just by unpacking what I've said. If you understand it, unpack it. If you don't understand it, ask. Otherwise, Jesus left riddles, but they built a lot of value for all of us. Hashtag church capture. That's Tafuma. Blessed man, Magudla. So that's the way it goes. I've done my bit. Now you can unriddle it, innocent. You can unpack it. You can expose it. And hopefully we all can benefit from these conversations.